Scientific theories are very story-like. This is most clear of the historical sciences. Evolution is a historical science. The Big Bang, the universe expands. As it expands, new things appear within it, and then solar systems appear, and then our planet appears, and then after some billions of years, life appears, and then in the primordial broth, and then we have the growth of life leading up to the present-day world, including us. I mean, that's a grand narrative. Then the smaller scale evolutionary theory is about stories, telling stories of how things evolved in terms of common ancestors, not unlike tribal storytelling, which is about the ancestors and how things got to be the way they are through the ancestors. And this even involves what are often derided as just so stories. A lot of evolutionary psychology is not unlike Rudyard Kipling's just so stories, how the leopard got its spots and that kind of thing. They think of a human characteristic and then they think of a plausible, more or less plausible scenario as to how this could have evolved in the Stone Age and why it would have been of selective value. For example, the atheist philosopher Daniel Dennett has a just so story about the placebo effect. He thinks that the reason there's religion in the world is, which he's against because he thinks it's irrational, is because we have a gene for credulity. And that we've got a gene for credulity, he suggests, because in the Stone Age, people who went to see witch doctors, when they were very credulous, they'd believe what the witch doctor told them, and they'd get better because they'd have a stronger placebo effect. So people with the credulity gene would survive more. So now practically all of modern humanity is infested with this credulity gene that makes them believe in religion and psychic phenomena and all the things Daniel Dennett disapproves of. However, curiously enough, he and Richard Dawkins and his fellow atheist friends have somehow escaped the effects of the credulity gene. They're not credulous about what they believe because that's the truth. This kind of story we come across the whole time, and I think they play an important part in science, even in physics, because now we have this cosmology, which is telling a story. It's already based on storytelling of one kind or another. I think Daniel Dennett's aware that this is a speculative idea. Indeed, he presents it as such. But when you're dealing with evolution and telling the story of evolution, since we can't actually observe what happened in the past, it all involves more or less plausible storytelling. Even when the science is about something that doesn't seem obviously related to story, like, say, the structure of the butane molecule or something like that, the way it's presented by scientists is very often in terms of a story. People used to think that so-and-so and so-and-so, but we now know. That's the most common scientific storyline. Some misty misconceptions in the past. You know, in the Dark Ages, people thought the world was propelled by spirits, etc. But we now know it's just run by matter and impersonal forces, obeying impersonal mathematical laws of nature, and so on. In science, is this progressivist narrative. People used to think, but we now know. And of course, in many ways, that is a very plausible narrative. I mean, we now know about electromagnetic fields, electromagnetic radiation, and as a result, we have technologies like radio, television, and cell phones, which people simply didn't have in the past. So this can be a very plausible narrative, and it's part of the wider Enlightenment narrative of progress, that humans have escaped the dark ages of religion and superstition and are marching forward in the light of science and reason, liberating humanity and transforming the conditions of life on Earth. That's the big Enlightenment narrative, which I would say most of the modern educational system is designed to pass on to students. And of course, it's a vast oversimplification.